effort to make it thin slices, I'll make it thin slices. For the most part, I'll just chop up however big I want and just leave it in the bowl with the rice.
I see. So, like, I wanted to ask. Oh, were you going to say something?
Oh, I'm just gonna say real quickly. I serve my rice in a separate bowl and then do this. I'm not forcing everyone else in the house to eat it as well. You know, like I'm not like there's the pot of rice and then I'm adding in bananas. You know, I'm a human. I I get it in a separate bowl and then add my bananas. I don't force the rest of my family to eat it.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to ask this. What? How do you call it? I don't want to seem negative or I'm hating, but like, how do you find the connection between like a sweet banana and rice? I'm assuming this is I'm gonna assume this is tomato rice, like the reddish orangish rice.
Yes.
Okay. How do you make that connection, or like how do you like?
Honestly,
I just want to know. I don't want to seem bad.
Honestly, I can't even answer that because again, like I don't know what makes me do it each and every time, but like I just do it. It's not a thing about like how like the pineapple on pizza where it's the different in taste or stuff. It's just more so it's become so much of a habit because I've done it since I was like a little kid that I see no issue with it at this point.
Oh, I see.
And because of the textures of both, you know how rice and then like a banana, essentially because it's getting mushed up in there, and plus if it's hot, it's getting like heated up, so it's becoming more mushy like the rice.
Right.
They then develop a similar texture, and so essentially I never noticed the difference. It just makes the rice maybe a little bit sweeter, but it still has a savory taste to it. I guess you could say somewhat similar to how you were saying about the pineapple on pizza, but like really, I can't even describe why I do it.
I see. I think it. I think with like so. I think it all underlies with like the counteract ability of the sweetness of the banana that gives it more taste to the rice. Yeah. So I think that's like I might be wrong. I don't know. In my opinion,
well,
it might increase like the richness of the rice.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I also got to mention is again because it started as a kid. Don't forget, as a kid, you're always looking for sugary things. Not even just sugar things, but sweet things. You know.
Yeah.
But as I've grown older, it's like my tolerance for sweets has slowly just decreased, you know? So it's like, essentially, like, yes, like I was saying, it makes the rice sweeter. But also, I guess you could say at the same time, if I'm in the mood for a banana, but I don't want, like, essentially the sweetness of it, I can mix it in the rice. Essentially, it benefits because it makes... Like, if the rice is a bit, like, too, like, I guess you could say salty.
Right.
You add the banana in to counter... Like, basically what you're saying. It counteracts, essentially, the saltiness by adding sweet to it. And then, like, also it counteracts my intolerance for the sweet by making it, like, essentially a balance.
Yeah.
I essentially think that's what it is with me and why I do that food combo.
Right. Interesting.
So shall we move on to the last one?
Are we gonna move on to that one?
Yes, if we're done.
We actually have one more food combo. That I'm pretty sure I told you about this, but I'm not sure. And it's pasta with fruit. You never tried it, Jack?
No.
No. Okay. So pretty much this whole time. Ever since I was little, my mom would make, it's called pasta fruit, like fruit pasta, which is basically like, what basically happens is my mom heats up, in boiled water, pieces of macaroni, right?
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, she cuts up like bits of like apples, bits of grapes, bits of like melon, bits of watermelon into little bits, and combines it with the pasta, and it adds in some cream, like milk cream, and it makes it cold, so that the ingredients cold up, and once you eat it, it's one of the best things ever. Because it's again, you get like the softness of the macaroni, which is already soft from the boiled water, and then you get like the hard bits from the bits of, what do you call it? The bits of fruit, and then you get the sugary sensation from the fruit as well as the combo with the cream milk.
Mm.
And this sounds weird, but what do you call it? This whole entire time, I've never seen anyone else eat it.
Hmm.
But it's an entire, like, you know, there's entire recipes online, but I've never seen no one else eat it.
So when
I'm
you
just thinking either I'm insane or it's a different region type of like food.
see when you first described it, before you said you added cream, I was gonna say you basically made a fruit salad and added pasta to it. But now that you bring in the cream thing, it sounds like you've made cereal, but replaced the cereal with the pasta.
You have a point, but that's the thing. It is not like, how do you call it? It's not doused in cream. It's just like covering the fruits.
Okay.
Like there's like no like liquid at the bottom, kind of like cereal. Once you finish your cereal, there's still a bit of milk at the bottom.
But do you flavor the pasta?
Yeah, but you don't taste the pasta. You feel it.
So it's just plain pasta with cream and fruit, and you rely on the cream and fruit to give it taste.
You also get fruit from okay. So you get a soft feeling from the macaroni bits. You get a bit of a crunchy feeling, but as well as the taste of each individual piece of fruit. And then the cream layers the flavor on top of the fruit, and as well on top of the macaroni.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I've never actually heard of that. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's very... I don't think it's... I mean, at this point, I don't think it's weird. I'm pretty sure there's other people in the world who've never heard of it, never tried it. But to me, I mean, I don't know. To me, all these years, I thought it was a weird combo, but it pretty much normalized on me.
Same. With my rice and banana, it's become normalized to me. Alright, so real quickly before we run out of time, is there one food that you've never had a bad experience with?
I've eaten pufferfish before. But you know how they say, you know, you have to have an experienced chef cook it for you, or else you're going to get the poisonous bit. I just ate a little bit, not the entire thing, but like, you know, the entire time I'm pretty much shaking because I'm thinking like, oh God, if I eat the wrong bit, I'm dead. But it was actually delicious at the end of the day.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Honestly, it's tough to say because I think for me, I would say pizza, but specifically pepperoni pizza, because I've had bad experiences with, like, obviously pizza that may have toppings on it that I don't like, you know?
Right.
But I don't think I've had a bad experience with pizza, like, taste-wise. But I've had bad experience with pizza in the sense that of its pricing, you know? And I feel like the pricing doesn't match up to, you know, its taste.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you have overpriced pizza, and you're just like, I really paid that much for this, when I could have spent cheaper and felt more satisfied with this. Like, that's my main argument for always going to Little Caesars. It's like, I can just spend $5 on a pizza and be satisfied, compared to going to somewhere like freaking Pizza Hut where they're going to charge you like $25 and the pizza's not even that good.
True that.
But so overall, like, taste-wise, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with pizza, whereas compared to, like, fries, burgers, chicken, salads, you know, stuff like that, you can have a bad experience.
I think you could have a bad experience with chicken, though.
That's what I'm saying. With that stuff, like, I've had bad experiences with. Especially, like, have you ever had a point where you're eating chicken and you're looking at it and you're really struggling to determine whether it's cooked properly or not?
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know, especially because I don't know if you're like this, but me and my dad are like this, where when we eat, we use like all of our senses, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we look at the food, we smell it, obviously taste it, You obviously can't hear it, but and then you kind of like have a feel for it when you're eating it.
Yeah.
And if any of those 4 are off, it kind of ruins the experience for us, which is why both of us we don't really like fish that much, because especially stuff like salmon, the color, looking at it throws us off, because we're just like, is that even cooked properly,
Yeah.
I don't know if you had that where it's like, if one of those 4 things are off, it really makes it difficult for us to eat. And that's why it's a blessing and a curse, because, you're very observant about your food, but at the same time, you're very observant about your food, and if one thing's off, it can ruin everything,
I think like the big, the worst thing you could do while eating is when you're eating something soft or you're eating something, you instantly eat on like
something
chewing
crunchy
a bone
or something crunchy.
hard.
Have you ever had that where you're eating something soft and then you hear a crunch?
Yeah, exactly. And then you try and like take it out with your tongue, or like use your fingers to like take it out, and then just it ruins the experience.
Yeah, I feel you there. Oh my gosh. Again, that goes back to the whole sense thing. That one thing can just ruin everything. You see something that's off, you taste something that's off, you smell something that's off, you feel something that's off, can ruin the whole meal. Exactly. But again, it makes you observant, and like, because of it, like if something's off, you can now know, like, to stop eating it or not to eat it. But then again, it ruins it, because in some cases, like, you were enjoying it and now you can't enjoy it afterwards. Like that's my biggest thing with like seafood, is just a lot of times the smell is off, or like just looking at it just looks off. Like I just look at it so many times, I'm just like, why does that not look cooked? But any other foods that you can think of that you've never had a bad experience with?
Other than that, I'm not sure.
All right then. Well, what about with the time left, we'll just close out. We thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. As always, remember, the door is open to anyone and everyone who wants to come on and join us. It's also open to any ideas that anyone would like to present for us to talk about. We're always taking ideas, and now we're starting to create a list of ideas so that way we're more properly prepared for the weeks to come. But so, I've been your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-host,
Castillo.
We thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. And remember, if it exists, we have an opinion on it. We thank you guys for joining us for another episode. We'll see you next week, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.